What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm trying. Okay, yeah, have to get everything right. Guys, as you can see from the title of this video, I am going to be discussing the fact that Notorious BIG was almost on the remix to Honey, and as you can hear, I have Honey playing in the background. How can a Mariah commentary video be made without, of course, Mariah in the background? So we will be kicking it, chilling to Mariah's Honey. I'm taking you back to 1997 for this video. But yes, I am discussing the fact that Notorious BIG was supposed to be on the remix for Honey. Now guys, if you want to fact check me on this, check out her interview that she gave to 105.1. Power 105.1 is on YouTube. Of course, you know, Mariah has been doing the press circuit lately. She's been promoting her new album, and so she's been giving a lot of interviews, and she's been giving a lot of details. She's been giving a lot of, you know, background info and a lot of really juicy stuff that, you know, I think she hasn't really spoken in depth about over the years. She's opening up in a brand new way, especially about a lot of her influences for her music, which of course, surprisingly, has a lot to do with R&B and hip hop, which of course explains a lot of why Caution is the way it is. It's a bona fide R&B record, which is what she wanted to put out. So this interview is included in that. In this interview, she talks with, I don't know who that guy is, but she's talking to him, and she literally says that she spoke with Notorious B.I.G. on the phone. Puffy called him up. He put her on the phone with him, and they were talking about the Honey remix, and that he was going to do that, and that was the schedule up until he got killed. And so once he got killed, of course, they replaced him with Mace and the Lox. And that is so unfortunate, because I swear, guys, if Biggie had made it onto the Honey remix, I swear, Honey remix, in my opinion, I think the Honey remix would have outdone the Fantasy remix with ODB. I think to date, I think the Fantasy remix with ODB is considered like her most infamous R&B hip hop crossover remix track ever. Probably because it was her first hip hop crossover where she featured a rapper, and I think that has a lot to do with it, and also the fact that it was, you know, ODB from Wu-Tang, and that was, you know, her passion. She really loved Wu-Tang. She was feeling them. She was playing them in her car, and she had their CDs and stuff like that. But I think if Biggie had made it onto the Honey remix, then I think that would have been her best hip hop collabo of all time. And not just simply I'm not just saying that just because, but I'm also saying it because Biggie had an incredible, like, at the time, Biggie and Tupac were considered to be the top of their games. That's why, you know, the East Coast West Coast rivalry was, you know, they were the face of East Coast West Coast. There were a lot of rappers that were going up against each other, but Biggie was the face of East Coast, Tupac was the face of West Coast. And so I think but I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. But Biggie had the ability he was so versatile with his rap, and I think that was the big difference between him and Tupac. Tupac had this, he was like a real deep poetic soul type individual, and a lot of his lyrics came from you know, a real deep emotional place within him, which is kind of why I feel like he has such a cult following. So many people like latched on to that emotion that was in him, because he was just so deep, you know, emotionally personal type individual. Biggie, I honestly feel, was more the commercial rapper. He was able to take any kind of beat that he was put on, and he could be so flexible with his lyrics. Like, for example, when he did Notorious Thugs, he literally sped up his rap to imitate Bone Thugs every time. And Puffy was like the king of Puffy was like the king of beats at the time. You know, he released that album, We Invented the Remix. So he was, you know, got commercials going on, guys. I'm so sorry. That's so unprofessional. But he was like the king of remixes. He was the king of coming up with these old school R&B hits from the 70s, from the early 80s, and then remixing them and throwing these heavy beats onto them, and just, coming up with this really heavy R&B sound. I remember like Mary J. Blige was, she was with Bad Boy, and like, she was so unique. She stood out so much because she was like an R&B singer who was singing on top of heavy hip hop beats. And so anyway, so Puffy had the imagination to come up with a lot of really crazy heavy hip hop beats. And so everything that he threw out to Notorious B.I.G. B.I.G. was able to just like be so versatile, and and just really flip things back and forth and in and out, and take, he really rose to the challenge on every single track. He was never, he was never just stagnant. There are some rappers that they sound the same on every track. They rap about the same stuff every time, over and over and over again. But Biggie was able to just be so versatile, and he could come up with flows that could bounce with the rhythm of the beat of the song and all that stuff. Anyway, so y'all get the point. So I think if he had jumped onto Honey, I honestly believe that his versatility would have really taken Honey to a whole nother level. And the fact that he passed away, I think that might would have taken that remix possibly to a more legendary level, because that just tends to happen when people pass away or die, especially when they die young. A lot of their work and a lot of the past collabs, whatever they did, whatever they put out, the albums, it all kind of goes to another, it gets taken to a whole nother level of significance. And so I think the Honey remix featuring Biggie would have been a really big deal for Mariah. But anyway, so I just wanted to make a video about that. I felt like that was worth making a video about because, I think that was something that was a fact that was very little known. I remember reading an article back in 1996 when Mariah was on the cover of, I think, Vibe. And I think that was the cover. She either had on like the white outfit or the black outfit, either way. But she gave a list of all the people she wanted to work with. And this was back in 96. And Notorious B.I.G. was one of the people on her list back in 96. So if you caught that article, you knew a collab was like that was coming up, but of course it didn't happen. Even Mariah, in the interview for 105.1 Power, she said that his death was what caused it not to happen, but they had already talked and discussed it. So yes. But anyway, segueing into the next part of the video, I wanted to go ahead and talk about some other remixes that I thought were really good remixes that I thought were done very well. Now, this doesn't just include Mariah, but in general, guys, if y'all also listen to pop R&B like I do, you'll notice that sometimes when rappers jump on R&B tracks, they don't always stay true to the theme of the song. Some rappers will jump on a track and be all over the place. And for example, I was a big fan of Justin Timberlake's My Love, and I really liked it because it was a slow song, and he was just singing in his falsetto. It was real smooth. And then T.I. jumps in on the track, and then he comes up with this rap that is all over. By the end of him rapping, he's going off on the girl, saying, "Oh, I'll forget you. I swear I will." And I'm like, why would he do that? This is a love song. People are wanting to stay in the haze. You want to stay in the glow of the song. If you're listening to something, you want to stay in the glow of it. You don't want to like, have someone jump on the track that goes left. And a lot of rappers do that. And unfortunately, I think that's happened a few times on a few of Mariah's remix tracks. I think Mariah is clearly a fan of R&B, and she's a fan of hip hop, and she listens to a lot of rappers. And I think she, because of her own interests and her own personal taste, she has connected with certain rappers that have impressed her, and so they got on the track. But I think the overall product, I don't think some rappers were really executed their rap and stayed true to what the song was about. That being said, some of the examples some of my favorites, some of the best examples I think of, Mariah's hip hop collabs were number one, Breakdown, because not only, I think Bone Thugs and Harmony, I think they are a great example of like almost like professional professional rappers. I mean, men who put thought into what they do, and not only do they rap, but they sing as they rap and they harmonize on top of that, and they actually think out what it is they're rapping about so that you're getting more of a story. And so when they did Breakdown, Mariah adapted her style to them and they adapted their style to her, and they came out with something that was great. So I think that was probably the best collab where the rapper stayed true to the concept of the song for Mariah. Same, I also say that for her collab with Crazy Bone when she did I Still Believe. On multiple levels, I believe that was a great remix because one, Crazy Bone and his style of rapping and singing, and he also incorporated words that were kind of ethereal, very true to the nature of the remix, which Mariah took the I Still Believe music and melody, which had a very a sense of wonder about it because it was Willy Wonka, it was a chocolate factory. There was a sense of awe about being in that scene, and she translated that into the song and created like a dreamy feel around the song. And then Crazy Bone, adapted to that, and his rap part didn't just go left. He was I think a part of every you know. And I think you'll find everything you're searching for, maybe more. Oh boy, you seem to be lost in uncertainty. But when you wake up, you will know you never should have let it go. That was just a very beautiful, the dreamy feel to that remix was just really nice. Um, Another good remix, I think. Honestly, I think the Always Be My Baby remix was really good. That was one of the rare remixes where she actually collaborated with females. Mariah typically collaborates with male rappers, but on this track, she actually hooked up with Escape and Debrat, and this was in Debrat's heyday. So she was like hot at that time. And then in Escape's vocals and their harmonies, and then Mariah actually I believe she did the song in a different key, and then when she actually sang with Escape in the background vocals and added harmonies, and of course did new ad libs on it. So that remix was just that was so well put together. That was really well put together. I thought that. I really liked the So So Def remix for Honey. I honestly thought the So So Def remix for Honey should have been given that Mace and the Locks were on the original remix. Let's just get that clear. I honestly thought the So So Def remix should have been released with a video instead of the Honey remix with Mace and the Locks, because the Mace and the Locks remix was too similar to the original remix. To the original version of the song. So I kind of felt like the So So Def remix would have been something a little different, that people could have seen a different angle of the song. And plus, she was using the instrumental from All About the Benjamins. No, no, no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She used that for Miss You. Miss You. Sorry. Where did she get the instrumental for the So So Def? If Jermaine likes it, then I like it. Dun, 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 dun. Was it All About the Benjamin? No, that was Miss You. Anyways, I can't remember, but she got the instrumental for So So Def from somewhere that was familiar at the time. Anywho, so those are just a few. Anyways, guys, I could keep going on and on and on, but I'm just not gonna go do that. Another good remix was One Sweet Day, Chucky's remix. Fun fact, the beginning of the Chucky's remix was actually what Nathan from the group had come up with. And so for the remix, they took his part that he came up with and combined it with the rest of the song. So that was really pretty. I won't let you down. I'll be alright if you help me. I know you're looking down from heaven. Okay, All right, guys, I'm done. I'm done. Thank you for listening. To everyone who's left comments on the videos, this has been a newly developed channel. So for everyone who's left comments, I do appreciate it. Thank you for your support, for your comments, and whatnot. Check out my other videos where I've done reactions to the new tracks from Mariah's new album. And hopefully you will keep kicking it with me for future videos. I have some original songs and some of my own stuff that I would like to share as well, and some other good good relevant information about what's going on with Mariah that I hope to continue to share on this channel. Okay, see you guys later. Bye.